The Crythian battle fleet appeared in Earth's orbit without warning. 40 massive warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel and hung in space like dark mountains against the stars. Inside the command center in Geneva, alarms screamed. Military personnel ran between stations, while screens showed the alien vessels taking position around the planet. Admiral Chen stared at the displays. Earth had 6 defense ships. The aliens had 40. It was not even close to a fair fight. The Crythians sent their message on all frequencies. A tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms appeared on every screen across Earth. Its voice was cold and mechanical through the translation software. Humans, you requested entry to the Galactic Council. This request is denied. Your species is primitive and unworthy. You will pay tribute to the Crythian Dominion. You have 1 of your hours to respond with complete surrender. If you refuse, we will demonstrate our power. The message ended. In the command center, nobody spoke. Admiral Chen looked at the president's representative. The woman's face was pale. We need to buy time, Chen said. Tell them we need to consult with all nations. Request 24 hours, the message went out. The Crythian commander appeared again. This time he was not alone. Other Crythian officers stood behind him. They were laughing. Consultation? You dare ask for time? We will show you what happens when primitives show disrespect. The Crythian ships opened fire. The weapons were beyond anything humans had seen. Beams of purple energy cut through the atmosphere like knives. Sydney was first. The downtown area simply vanished in a blast of light and heat. Then São Paulo. Then Jakarta. Earth's 6 defense ships moved to intercept. They fired missiles and energy weapons. A few shots hit the alien shields but did nothing. The Crythian fleet turned its attention to the defenders. In 3 minutes, all 6 human ships were burning wreckage. The bombardment stopped. 14 million people were dead. 3 major cities were craters of melted glass and metal. The Crythian commander broadcast one final message: this is mercy. We could have destroyed your entire planet. You have 7 of your days to prepare your surrender and tribute. Do not test our patience again. The alien fleet vanished back into faster-than-light travel. Earth was alone with its dead. The Galactic Council met in emergency session. Representatives from 40 species gathered in the Great Hall on the neutral station. Everyone had seen the footage of Earth's attack. The images were spreading across every civilized system. Ambassador Valix from the peaceful Centauri Federation stood to speak. His people had helped humanity build their first colony ships. We must act. The Crythians have committed an unprovoked act of mass murder. Sanctions must be imposed. The Crythian ambassador rose from his seat. He was even larger than the commander who had attacked Earth. The primitives were given a chance to comply. They refused. We acted within our rights to defend our interests. 14 million dead, Velix shouted. 3 cities destroyed. How is this defense? The Crythian laughed. It was a harsh sound that echoed through the hall. 14 million? We have fought wars that killed billions. This was a warning shot. The humans will surrender or they will all die. The council voted. The result was predictable. A formal condemnation. Economic sanctions that would take years to implement. No military action. No justice. Ambassador Velix watched the human's representative leave the chamber. The human said nothing. His face showed no emotion. That worried Velix more than anger would have. Across the galaxy, other species watched and waited. The general opinion was clear. Humanity would surrender. What else could they do? The Crythian Dominion controlled 47 star systems. They had the largest military force in known space. Humanity had Earth, Mars, and a few small colonies. The smart money said humans would negotiate tribute payments and accept a humiliating peace. Some species even felt sorry for the humans. They seemed like nice enough primitives. 3 days passed. Then a week. Then 2 weeks. No message came from Earth. No surrender. No tribute offer. Nothing. The Crythians sent ships to Earth's colonies. They found the settlements abandoned. Every human had gone. Even the research stations on Europa and Titan were empty. It was like humanity had simply vanished. Back in the Sol system, something strange was happening. Every ship that jumped into the system was immediately detected and tracked. But when those ships tried to get close to Earth or Mars, they encountered a wall of defensive satellites and weapon platforms that had not been there before. The Crythians sent a scout ship to investigate. It jumped in at the edge of the system and began scanning. What it found made no sense. The planet Mars glowed with heat signatures. Hundreds of structures were being built. Earth's orbit was filled with construction activity, and the shipyards. There were dozens of them now. Each one was building something. The scout sensors could not identify the ship designs. They did not match anything in the Galactic database. The scout ship tried to get closer. Immediately, 6 human ships appeared. They did not fire. They did not communicate. They simply followed the scout until it left the system. 3 months after the attack, humanity finally sent a message. It went directly to the Crythian Dominion capital. No other species received it. The message was short. A human appeared on the screen. He wore a military uniform, but not like the ones Earth forces had worn before. This one was black with red trim. Behind him stood others in similar uniforms. The room they stood in was clearly a warship bridge. "This is Fleet Admiral Marcus Stone of the Terran Warfleet. You attacked our world. You killed 14 million of our people. You demanded our surrender. Here is our response." Stone held up a datapad. On it were coordinates, a date, a time. "We will meet you here in 30 days. Bring every ship you have. Bring your best commanders. Bring everything you think you need to win. It will not be enough." The transmission ended. The Crythian High Command analyzed the message. They argued for hours. Some said it was a bluff. Others said the humans had gone insane. But they all agreed on one thing. The humans would be taught their final lesson. The Crythian Dominion began mobilizing. Every military ship was recalled. Defense fleets were stripped from border systems. In 30 days, they would gather the largest battle fleet in their history. 800 warships would jump to those coordinates. The humans would see this fleet and realize their mistake. Then they would beg for mercy. The Crythians did not know that humanity had stopped asking for mercy. Humanity had spent 3 months preparing for something else entirely. Something the galaxy had never seen. Something that would change everything. In orbit around Mars, Admiral Stone stood on the bridge of the new flagship. The ship had a name painted on its hull in letters 3 meters high. It was called Retribution. Behind it hung 299 more warships. Every one of them carried names: Sydney, São Paulo, Jakarta, the names of the dead cities, the names of streets from those cities, the names of hospitals and schools that had burned. "Status report," Stone said. His second officer checked her displays. "All ships report ready. Weapon systems charged. Crews at battle stations. We can depart on your order, sir." Stone nodded slowly. He looked at the star field ahead. Somewhere out there, the Crythians were preparing. They thought they knew what was coming. They were wrong. So very wrong. "Begin jump sequence," Stone ordered. "It is time to remind the galaxy why you should never attack humanity." The fleet engaged their faster-than-light drives. 300 human warships vanished from Mars orbit. They were heading to war. And they were bringing every lesson humanity had learned from 10,000 years of killing each other. The galaxy was about to get an education. The Crythians had made one critical mistake. They never researched who they were attacking. They saw primitive ships and weak weapons. They saw a species that had barely reached the stars. They assumed humans were like every other young species in the galaxy. Peaceful, scared, easy to control. They never looked at Earth's history. If they had, they would have learned the truth. Humanity had been at war with itself for 10,000 years. Sometimes the wars were small, villages fighting over farmland. Sometimes the wars consumed entire continents. But humans were always fighting. Other species fought for territory. They fought for resources. When they won what they needed, they stopped. When the cost got too high, they negotiated. War was a tool, a means to an end. Humans were different. Humans fought wars of extinction. They fought wars over ideas, over religions, over political systems. They fought wars where surrender meant complete destruction. They fought wars where losing meant your entire civilization would be erased from history. The Crythians had developed their military over thousands of years of small conflicts, battles in space, territorial disputes, police actions against pirates. Their doctrine was built on overwhelming force leading to quick surrender. Humanity had developed their military while trying to kill themselves. Every weapon, every tactic, every strategy had been tested against other humans who were just as smart and just as desperate. The survivors learned. The losers died. And then the next war started. In 1939, most of Earth was at peace. Nations had factories making cars and clothes and consumer goods. By 1941, those same nations had converted everything to war production. Factories that made cars now made tanks. Factories that made clothes now made uniforms. Entire economies transformed in months. The Krithians thought humans would need years to build a fleet. They gave humanity 3 months. It was enough. On the day of the attack, the United Nations held an emergency meeting. Every nation sent representatives. The meeting lasted 3 hours. At the end, they made a single decision. The United Nations was dissolved. In its place, they created the Terran War Council. The council had one goal, one purpose: revenge. Every nation contributed. Russia sent its best engineers. America sent its factory systems. China sent its manufacturing capacity. Europe sent its scientists. Africa sent its rare earth minerals. South America sent its steel and titanium. Every human colony stopped civilian production and switched to military goods. The shipyards around Mars worked 24 hours a day. Workers did 12-hour shifts. When one crew got tired, another crew took their place. Nobody complained. Everyone had lost someone. Everyone had seen the videos of Sydney burning, São Paulo melting, Jakarta turning to glass. The asteroid belt became a mining operation on a scale never seen before. Automated ships stripped minerals from rocks that had drifted in space for billions of years. The materials flowed to Mars, to the Moon, to the orbital stations around Earth. Everywhere humans lived, they built weapons. The new warships were different from anything humanity had built before. No exploration equipment, no scientific instruments, no cargo space for trade goods. These ships had one purpose. They were designed to kill. Human engineers looked at every space battle in galactic history. They studied Krithian tactics, Krithian ship designs, Krithian weapons. Then they designed counters. Human ships were faster, more maneuverable. They could turn and accelerate in ways that would tear apart any other species' vessels. Because humans had spent centuries building aircraft that could survive atmospheric combat. They knew how to make something fast and deadly. The weapons were even more different. Most galactic species had banned certain weapon types. Nuclear weapons were considered barbaric. Chemical weapons were outlawed. Biological weapons were unthinkable. War was supposed to be civilized. Humanity loaded every banned weapon they had. Nuclear missiles became standard ammunition. The ships carried enough firepower to sterilize planets. Nobody questioned it. Nobody objected. The Krithians had shown what they thought of civilized warfare. Every retired military commander was recalled to service. Men and women in their 70s put uniforms back on. They analyzed every battle humanity had ever fought, every victory, every defeat. They fed all of it into computer simulations and tactical programs. A young programmer suggested using tactics from submarine warfare, 3-dimensional combat in an environment where you could hide. Fleet Admiral Stone saw the simulation and immediately ordered it implemented. Humans had been fighting 3-dimensional naval battles for 200 years. Most alien species had only fought in the 2 dimensions of planetary surfaces before they reached space. Another team studied the kamikaze pilots of World War II. Not to copy them exactly, but to understand the principle. Sometimes the greatest weapon was not caring about your own survival. The Krithian shields could stop conventional weapons. But they had never faced an enemy that would ram ships loaded with nuclear weapons directly into their hulls. Every ship was given a name, not numbers, not designations, names. The first 300 ships were named after the destroyed cities. The next 100 were named after streets from those cities, then hospitals, schools, parks. Every ship carried the memory of the dead. The crews trained constantly. They ran simulation after simulation, attack patterns, defense formations, damage control. They practiced until they could perform every action without thinking, until every maneuver was automatic. 2 months after the attack, a Krithian scout ship entered the Sol system. It was supposed to be a quick check, see if humans were preparing their surrender, maybe locate the tribute they would be forced to pay. What the scout found shocked the crew. Mars was covered in construction, The heat signatures from factories and smelters made the planet glow in infrared. Earth's orbit was filled with platforms and stations. And everywhere there were shipyards. The scout sensors counted 200 new warships, then 250, then 300. The computer kept updating the count as more ships appeared from behind the moon, behind Mars, from the asteroid belt. The scout captain sent the report back to Crithian space. The High Command received it with disbelief. 300 ships in 3 months? Impossible. The report had to be wrong. Maybe the sensors were counting civilian ships. Maybe the humans were showing them fake constructions. But the images were clear, and every ship had weapons. Lots of weapons. The Crithian commander who had ordered the attack on Earth laughed when he saw the report. Let them build their toys. We have 800 veteran ships. They have 300 new constructions with inexperienced crews. This will be easier than I thought. His second officer was not so sure. Commander, the humans allowed our scout to leave. They could have destroyed it. They could have captured it. Instead, they let it report everything back to us. Why? The commander waved his hand dismissively. They want us to know they have ships. They think it will make us negotiate. Primitives always think superior numbers matter. But sir, what if they want us to know? What if they want us to bring every ship we have? The commander's laughter stopped. He looked at his second officer for a long moment. Then he shook his head. No species is that foolish. They are trying to bluff us into backing down. It will not work. Back on Mars, Fleet Admiral Stone watched the Crithian scout ship jump away. He had ordered that it be allowed to leave. He wanted the Crithians to know. He wanted them to see what was coming. He wanted them to gather their full fleet, because Stone knew something the Crithians did not. Something no other species in the galaxy understood. When you attack humanity, you do not fight 300 ships. You do not fight one species. You fight 10,000 years of warfare. You fight every lesson learned in every battle. You fight the accumulated experience of civilizations that spent more time killing each other than exploring space. Stone turned to his communications officer. Send the message. Give them the coordinates. Tell them to bring everything. The officer nodded and sent the transmission. The message that would start the real war. The one that would teach the galaxy a lesson they would never forget. Humanity was going to war. And humanity was very good at war. The Terran war fleet departed from Mars orbit in perfect formation. 300 ships, each one painted black with red trim. Each one carrying the name of something that was destroyed. Each one carrying a crew that wanted revenge. Admiral Stone stood on the bridge of the flagship Retribution. He watched the stars shift as the fleet entered faster than light travel. They were not going directly to the coordinates he had given the Crithians. That would come later. First, humanity had a message to deliver. The fleet's first stop was a neutral trading station called Haven Port. It was a massive structure that orbited a gas giant. Thousands of ships from dozens of species used it every day. It was one of the busiest commercial centers in the galaxy. When the human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the station, every alarm went off. 300 warships appearing without warning. The station's defense force scrambled. Merchant ships rushed to undock. Everyone expected an attack. Instead, the human fleet took up a stationary position 10,000 kilometers from the station. They powered down their weapons. They opened all communication channels. And they began broadcasting. Every screen on Havenport showed the same thing. The footage from Earth, Sydney disappearing in purple fire, São Paulo's towers melting like wax, Jakarta turning to burning ash, 14 million people dying in minutes. After the footage, Admiral Stone appeared. He spoke clearly and calmly. 3 months ago, the Crithian Dominion attacked Earth without warning. They killed 14 million people. They destroyed 3 cities. The Galactic Council condemned their actions with words. We will respond with something more permanent. The transmission ended. The human fleet jumped away. They left behind thousands of shocked aliens and a recording that began spreading across the galactic network immediately. The fleet made 4 more stops over the next week. Each time they appeared near a major population center. Each time they broadcast the footage. Each time they moved on without firing a shot. By the end of the week, every civilized species in the galaxy had seen what happened to Earth. and every species had seen the human fleet. The psychological effect was exactly what Stone had planned. The galaxy watched in real time as humanity crossed known space toward Crithian territory. Every jump was public. Every broadcast was recorded. The humans were not sneaking. They were not hiding. They were announcing their presence, announcing their intention, announcing what was coming. On the civilian networks, people argued. Some said the humans were brave. Others said they were stupid. Most agreed that 300 ships against 800 Crithian warships meant humanity was about to be destroyed. But there was something about the broadcasts that unsettled everyone. The humans never threatened, never boasted. They just showed the footage and moved on. Their fleet maintained perfect formation. Their ships moved with mechanical precision. And every ship broadcast one thing continuously on all frequencies. Names. The names of the dead. 14 million names read aloud by computer voices. It would take months to read them all. The broadcasts never stopped. Never paused. Every ship transmitted names. Every hour. Every day. In the Crithian capital, the High Command watched the human fleet's progress. The broadcasts made them uncomfortable. The Crithian commander who had ordered the attack on Earth held a meeting with his top officers. They are trying to gain sympathy, he said, showing their dead to make other species support them. It will not work. We have legal justification for our actions. The primitives refused a lawful demand. His intelligence officer pulled up a display. Commander, our analysts have reviewed the human ship designs. They are not like anything we have seen. Fast engines, heavy armor, and their weapons loadout is concerning. They appear to have no defensive doctrine. Everything is designed for attack. Of course they are designed for attack, the commander said. The humans think they can frighten us with aggressive posturing. But they have never fought a real battle. Our crews have decades of experience. Our tactics have been refined over centuries. They will learn what real warfare looks like. The intelligence officer hesitated. Sir, there is something else. We investigated human history. Their planet's history. Commander, these beings have been at war with each other for their entire civilization. They have fought thousands of wars, millions of battles. They have weapons designed specifically to kill their own species. The room went quiet. The other officers exchanged looks. Fighting your own species was unheard of. Most intelligent life unified before reaching the stars. Internal conflicts were solved through negotiation. War was something you did to other species, not your own. The commander laughed, but it sounded forced. Then they are savages, primitives who kill their own kind. This only confirms our decision to discipline them. But note this, officers, if they are used to fighting each other, they are not used to fighting a superior force. We outnumber them more than 2 to 1. We have superior technology. This will be a short battle. The meeting ended. The Crithian fleet continued to gather. 800 ships from 47 star systems. The largest military force the Dominion had ever assembled. They would meet the humans at Draen's Gate, a strategic point in space where several travel lanes intersected. It was the perfect place for a battle. Open space. No obstacles. No planets to worry about. Just ship against ship. The Crithian fleet arrived first. They took up defensive positions. Their largest ships formed the center. Smaller vessels protected the flanks. It was textbook formation. Exactly what their doctrine called for. The formation had worked for centuries. 6 hours later, the humans arrived. Their 300 ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel in perfect synchronization. They formed a single line, every ship facing the Crithian fleet directly. It was not a defensive formation. It was not a tactical arrangement. It was a wall, a line of battle. The Crithian commander opened a communication channel. Human fleet, you are outnumbered. You are outgunned. You have shown bravery in coming here, but bravery is not enough. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. You will be treated as prisoners of war and returned to your planet after you have learned proper respect. Admiral Stone appeared on the screen. His face was calm. His voice was steady. No, the Crithian commander blinked. No, you refuse surrender? Then you choose death. You had your chance for mercy, Stone said. When you jumped into Earth orbit, you could have talked. When you saw us asking for time, you could have negotiated. Instead, you killed 14 million people. You destroyed 3 cities. You laughed about it. Now you face the consequences. Consequences? The commander's laugh echoed across the channel. You are 300 ships. We are 800. What consequences can you possibly deliver? Stone's expression did not change. You are about to find out. The transmission ended. For 10 seconds, both fleets hung in space, silent, waiting. Then the human fleet opened fire. All 300 ships simultaneously. Missiles, energy weapons, railguns, everything. The Crithian shields absorbed the first wave. Their return fire was measured, precise, professional. They were aiming to disable, not destroy. Even now they followed the rules of civilized warfare. The humans did not follow any rules. The first ship to lose shields was hit by 3 nuclear missiles. The explosion was visible from 1,000,000 kilometers away. The second ship suffered the same fate, then the third. The Crithian formation began to break as ships moved to avoid the nuclear blasts. That was when the human fleet stopped being a wall. 50 ships broke from the line and accelerated straight up. 50 more went down. The remaining 200 charged directly at the Crithian center. It was not a tactic the Crithians recognized. It was 3-dimensional warfare. Attack from multiple directions simultaneously. Tactics developed fighting submarines in Earth's oceans. Tactics refined in atmospheric combat where there was no up or down. Just enemies coming from every direction. The Crithians tried to reform, tried to respond. But their doctrine was based on flat space battles. They positioned ships to protect their flanks. Not their top. Not their bottom. The human ships tore through their formation like bullets through paper. Then the ramming started. A human ship took critical damage. Instead of retreating, it turned toward the nearest Crithian vessel and accelerated. The impact destroyed both ships. 3 minutes later, another human ship did the same thing. Then another. The Crithians realized what they were facing. An enemy that did not care about survival. An enemy that used every ship as a weapon. An enemy that treated death as just another tool. The battle lasted 4 hours. When it ended, the Crithian fleet had lost 320 ships. The human fleet had lost 90. The remaining Crithian vessels retreated. The humans did not pursue. They regrouped, repaired what could be repaired, and broadcast a message to the Crithian Dominion. Admiral Stone appeared on every screen. This was your warning. We are coming for your homeworld. Recall your fleets. Prepare your defenses. It will not be enough. The human fleet jumped away. They were heading deeper into Crithian space. And the galaxy finally understood. Humanity had not come to fight a battle. Humanity had come to fight a war. The Terran war fleet spent 3 weeks crossing Crithian space. They did not hide. They did not sneak. Every system they entered, they announced their presence. Every defense station they passed, they destroyed. Every military outpost they reduced to debris. They were leaving a trail of wreckage that pointed directly to Crythia Prime. The Crithian High Command watched in growing panic. They recalled every ship, every fleet that protected border systems, every patrol that guarded trade routes. Everything was pulled back to the homeworld. By the time the human fleet arrived, 480 Crithian warships orbited Crythia Prime. It was every ship that had survived the first battle plus reinforcements that had been scattered across the Dominion. Admiral Stone stood on the bridge of Retribution and studied the displays. 480 ships, plus orbital defense platforms, plus ground-based weapons. The Crithians had turned their homeworld into a fortress. Assessment, Stone said. His tactical officer pulled up the analysis. They outnumber us 2 to 1. The orbital platforms add another 30% to their firepower. If we engage in a straight battle, our losses will be severe. Then we will not fight a straight battle, Stone said. Prepare assault pattern Delta 7. The officer's eyes widened. Sir, that pattern was designed for attacking fortified positions with heavy casualties expected. It requires ships to act as shields for others. We will lose at least 50 ships in the first wave alone. I know, Stone said quietly. Send the order. All ships are to prepare for final assault. And open a channel to the Crithian High Command. The channel opened. The Crithian leaders appeared on screen. The commander who had ordered Earth's attack was not among them. Stone had learned that the commander died in the first battle. Good. The new Crithian leader spoke first. His voice was steady, but his face showed fear. Human Admiral, you have demonstrated your military capability. You have proven your point. Surely we can negotiate a settlement that satisfies honor on both sides. Stone said nothing for a long moment. Then he gestured to his communications officer. The officer transmitted something to the Crithian fleet. Images, targeting solutions, weapon trajectories. Everything pointed at the planet below. "Do you see these calculations?" Stone asked. "We have enough nuclear weapons to sterilize your planet. We can turn every city into glass, every ocean into steam. 14 billion people live on that world. We can kill all of them, right now, with a single order." The Crithian leader's face went pale. Around him, other officials stared at their screens in horror. The calculations were real. The humans could do exactly what they said. "You killed 14 million of our people," Stone continued. "By your own mathematics, we should kill 14 billion of yours. An eye for an eye multiplied by 1,000. That would be proportional. That would be just." "Please," the Crithian leader said. It was barely a whisper. "Please, we were wrong. We admit it. We will accept any punishment, any penalty, but do not kill our world." Stone let the silence stretch. Let them feel the fear. Let them understand what it was like to watch death approaching and know you were helpless to stop it. Then he spoke. "We are not you. We do not kill billions because it is easy. We do not destroy civilizations because they annoyed us. You attacked us because you thought we were weak. You were wrong, but that does not mean we will become what you are." The Crithian leader looked up. Hope flickered in his eyes. "Here are our terms," Stone said. "Not negotiable. Not subject to debate. Accept them or face the alternative." He transmitted the document. The Crithians read it quickly. Their faces showed shock, disbelief, and finally, resignation, total disarmament. Every military ship would be dismantled. Every weapon would be destroyed. The Crithian Dominion would maintain only a small defense force for police actions, nothing that could threaten another species. War crime tribunals. Every commander involved in planning or executing the attack on Earth would stand trial. Human judges. Human laws. Human justice, reparations. For 100 years, the Crithian Dominion would pay tribute to Earth. Resources, technology, whatever humanity demanded. The amount would be calculated to hurt but not to destroy. They would rebuild, eventually, but they would remember the cost, territory. Every Crithian system within 50 light-years of Earth would be ceded to human control. Colonies would be evacuated. Stations would be abandoned. That space now belonged to Terra, and finally the occupation. A human fleet would remain in Crithian space, permanently, watching, waiting, making sure the terms were followed, making sure the Crithians never forgot what happened when you attacked humanity. The Crithian leader read the terms twice. Then he looked at Stone. "These terms are harsh. They will cripple our civilization for generations." "Yes," Stone said, "they will. But you will survive. Your people will live. Your children will have futures." "That is more than you gave to Sydney, São Paulo, Jakarta. You have 60 seconds to accept or we proceed with alternative solutions." The Crithian leaders conferred frantically. Stone watched them argue, saw some demand they refuse, saw others plead for acceptance. He knew what they would choose. They had no other option. 45 seconds later, the Crithian leader raised his hand. "We accept. All terms. We surrender unconditionally," Stone nodded once. "Power down all weapons. Order your fleet to stand down. Any ship that shows hostile action will be destroyed. No warnings. No second chances," the orders went out. One by one, the Crithian ships powered down their weapons. The orbital platforms went dark. The ground-based defenses shut off. The most powerful military in the galaxy surrendered without firing a shot. The battle for Crithia Prime was over. It had lasted 20 minutes. Not a single shot was fired, but it would be remembered as the most decisive victory in galactic history. News of the surrender spread across the galaxy within hours. Every species watched the footage, saw the human fleet hanging in orbit, saw the calculations that showed they could have destroyed the planet, saw them choose mercy instead. On the Galactic Council station, Ambassador Velix watched the reports. He had tried to help humanity, tried to get the Council to act. Now he saw what happened when the Council failed. Another ambassador sat beside him, a Draxian, species known for their military expertise. The Draxian spoke quietly. "I studied human history after the attack. Do you know what I learned?" "What?" Velix asked. "Humans have a saying. The purpose of war is not to die for your cause. It is to make the other person die for theirs. They have spent 10,000 years perfecting that philosophy. The Crithians learned it the hard way." Felix nodded slowly. "They could have destroyed the Crithian homeworld, killed billions, Why did they not? The Draxian pulled up the human terms on his data pad. Look at these demands. Total disarmament. War crime trials, reparations, permanent occupation. The Crithians will spend a century paying for what they did. Their empire is broken. Their pride is shattered. But they are alive. They can rebuild. Eventually. I do not understand, Velix said. The humans wanted justice, not genocide. They wanted the Crithians to know they were wrong. To feel the consequences. If they had simply destroyed the planet, it would be over. Quick, clean, but this way. The Crithians will remember for generations. Every ship they cannot build. Every resource they must give to Earth. Every human soldier occupying their space. It will all remind them of their mistake. Velix thought about that. So the humans are merciful? The Draxian laughed. It was not a happy sound. No, they are practical. They showed the galaxy they could destroy planets. That they have weapons we cannot match. That they fight wars we cannot imagine. But they also showed they can be reasoned with. They can show restraint. They are not monsters. They are just very, very good at war. Will other species challenge them? Velix asked. The Draxian looked at him. Would you? Velix had no answer. On Krithia Prime, the disarmament began immediately. Human officers oversaw the process. Every ship was inspected. Every weapon was catalogued. The work would take years. But it started that day. Admiral Stone remained in orbit for 3 months. He wanted to make sure the surrender was real. That no resistance was forming. That the Crithians understood this was permanent. When he finally prepared to return to Earth, his second officer asked him a question. Sir, we could have destroyed them. Why did we not? Stone looked at the planet below. 14 billion Crithians going about their lives. Lives that almost ended. Because we are not them. They attacked us because they thought we were weak. Because they thought might made right. If we had killed them all, we would have proven them correct. Instead, we proved something else. What did we prove? That being capable of terrible things does not mean you have to do them. That strength is not just about destroying enemies. It is about knowing when to stop. Stone turned from the window. But make no mistake. If they ever forget this lesson, we will remind them. Permanently, the officer nodded. Understood, sir. The Terran warfleet departed Crithian space. Half the ships remained behind as occupation forces. The other half returned home as heroes. They had done what seemed impossible. They had defeated an empire. And they had done it while keeping their humanity. The galaxy would remember this war for centuries, not because of the battles, not because of the weapons, but because of what came after. Because humanity showed that you could be powerful without being cruel, that you could 10 years past. The galaxy had changed in ways nobody could have predicted when the Crithians first attacked Earth. The changes were visible everywhere. In politics, in military doctrine, in how species treated each other. But the biggest change was in how everyone viewed humanity. On Krithia Prime, the transformation was remarkable. The once proud military empire was now a peaceful civilization focused on rebuilding. The cities that had been damaged during the brief human occupation were restored. New buildings stood alongside old ones. The architecture blended Crithian tradition with human efficiency. In the capital city's central square, a monument stood. It was built by Crithians but designed with human input. The monument showed 2 figures. One Crithian, one human, both reaching toward each other. Not in friendship exactly, but in understanding. The inscription was in both languages. From destruction comes wisdom. From war comes peace. Commander Velak walked through the square every morning. He had been a young officer in the Crithian fleet during the war. He had survived the battle at Draen's Gate. Barely. Now he taught military history at the Planetary University. His students were the first generation to grow up under human occupation. Today he was meeting with his human counterpart. Colonel Rodriguez had been part of the occupation force for 8 years. He taught at the same university. They co-taught a course on the war. Students heard both sides, Crithian and human. Victor and defeated Rodriguez was waiting at their usual cafe. He waved when he saw Velak. The Crithian sat down with a sigh. Hard morning? Rodriguez asked. The students asked about the Sydney Doctrine again, Velak said. They always ask. They want to know if humanity would really respond the same way to another attack. Rodriguez sipped his drink. What did you tell them? The truth. That yes, humanity would respond. that the doctrine is not a bluff, that every species in the galaxy knows it. The Sydney Doctrine had been announced 5 years after the war ended. It was humanity's official position on warfare. Simple, direct, absolute. Humanity would never strike first, would never initiate aggression, would always seek peaceful solutions. But if attacked, humanity would respond with overwhelming force, and humanity would always have the last word. The doctrine was named after the first city destroyed. It was a reminder, a memorial, and a promise. "Do they believe you?" Rodriguez asked. Velak gestured to the sky. Up there in orbit, human warships maintained their watch. They had been there for 10 years. They would be there for 90 more, maybe longer. They see the ships. They know the history. Yes, they believe. Rodriguez nodded. Good. The doctrine works because everyone believes it. Because everyone knows what happened here. "I have a question," Velak said. "It has bothered me for years. Why did your people rebuild our cities before rebuilding your own? Sydney, São Paulo, Jakarta. They remained ruins for 3 years while you helped us reconstruct our capital. Why?" Rodriguez was quiet for a moment. "Because we needed you to see something. To understand something. We did not come here to destroy you. We came here for justice. Justice means holding you accountable, making you pay for what you did. But it also means showing you a better way, showing you that strength can be used to build, not just to tear down." "And did it work?" Velak asked. "Are we better now?" Rodriguez looked at the Crithian. "You tell me. Would your people attack another species now?" Velak did not hesitate. "No, never. We learned that lesson permanently." "Then yes," Rodriguez said. It worked. Halfway across the galaxy on Earth, a different kind of monument stood. The ruins of Sydney had been cleared but not rebuilt. Instead, the entire area was now a memorial. 14 million names carved into black stone walls that stretched for kilometers. Visitors walked through gardens planted around the walls. Water features provided quiet sounds. It was peaceful, beautiful, and utterly heartbreaking. At the center of the memorial stood a single pillar. On it, words in every Earth language. But the English version said simply, "They thought we would break." They were wrong. Every year, on the anniversary of the attack, humans gathered at the memorial. So did others. Crithian representatives came. They laid wreaths. They spoke words of apology and remembrance. The first few years, some humans protested their presence. But over time, the protests faded. The Crithians were different now. Everyone could see it. Admiral Stone, retired now, attended every memorial ceremony. He was older, tired, but he stood for hours watching the names scroll on digital displays. Every name, every person. He had promised them justice. He had delivered. After one ceremony, a young reporter approached him. She was Crithian, part of the new generation that came to Earth to study, to learn, to understand. "Admiral Stone, may I ask you something?" she said. Her English was good. Most young Crithians learned human languages now. "Of course," Stone said. "During the war you had the power to destroy my homeworld. You showed us the calculations. The targeting data. You could have killed everyone. Why did you not?" Stone had been asked this question many times. He always gave the same answer. "Because then we would have become what we were fighting against. Your leaders attacked us because they thought might made right. Because they thought power meant they could do whatever they wanted. If we had destroyed your world, we would have proven them correct. But you had the power," she pressed. "You still have the power, the fleet orbiting my world, the weapons you keep ready. Everyone knows humanity could destroy any planet if you wanted to. Does that not make you the most dangerous species in the galaxy?" Stone smiled. It was a sad smile. "Yes, we are dangerous. Very dangerous. But danger is not the same as evil. A knife is dangerous, but you can use it to cut bread or to kill someone. The danger is in what you choose to do with it. So humanity chooses not to use that power?" the reporter asked. "Not exactly," Stone said. "We use the power. Just not the way you think. Our power keeps the peace. The Sydney Doctrine means nobody attacks anyone because they know we will respond. We are not police. We are not enforcers. But we made it clear what happens when you start wars. So fewer wars start." The reporter thought about that. "So you are saying the threat of violence prevents violence?" "Humans have a saying," Stone told her. "Walk softly and carry a big stick. It means you should be peaceful, respectful, diplomatic, but everyone should know that if they attack you, you can defend yourself. And more than defend, you can win. Decisively." And the galaxy accepts this? She asked. Stone gestured to the memorial around them. The galaxy accepts it because they know we mean it. Because we proved it. And because in 10 years we have not abused that power. We have not attacked anyone. We have not threatened anyone. We have kept the peace. Actions speak louder than words. The reporter thanked him and left. Stone watched her go. Then he looked back at the names on the walls. All those people. All those lives cut short. They were the reason for everything. The war, the doctrine, the fleet. They were why humanity could never forget, never forgive completely, and never allow it to happen again. On the Galactic Council station, the political landscape had shifted dramatically. Earth held a permanent seat now. Nobody questioned it. Nobody challenged it. The human delegation was small but influential. When they spoke, others listened. A new species had recently petitioned for council membership. The Zexari. They were aggressive, militaristic. They reminded some observers of the old Crithian dominion. During their presentation, they made demands, insisted on special privileges, spoke dismissively about species they considered inferior. The council chambers were tense. Several ambassadors exchanged worried looks. Then the Zexari representative made a mistake. He pointed at the human delegation. These primitives were granted membership after a single conflict. We have conquered twice as many systems. We deserve the same treatment, better treatment. The human ambassador stood slowly. She was young, a veteran of the Crethian War. She had commanded a destroyer at the Battle of Draen's Gate. Her ship had been one that rammed a Crethian battleship. She survived, barely. Let me make something clear, she said. Her voice was calm, professional, but there was steel underneath. Earth was granted council membership not because we won a war. We were granted membership because we showed we could win a war and still show mercy. We proved we understood the responsibility that comes with power. You have proven only that you know how to conquer. There is a difference, the Zexari representative snarled. Threats from a primitive species. How amusing. Not threats, the ambassador said. Education. You see, the Crithians also thought we were primitives. They also thought they could push us around. Would you like to ask them how that worked out? Oh, wait, you cannot. Because they are still paying reparations, still under occupation, still learning their lesson. She walked toward the Zexari delegation. Here is what you need to understand. Humanity does not want war. We have seen enough war. We have fought more wars than your species has had generations. We know the cost. We know the price. We will do almost anything to avoid war. But if you push us, if you attack us or any species under our protection, you will learn the same lesson.